All right, in this example, I'm going to do a Class B network, 172.16.0.0, and I'm going to solve for 105 subnetworks. So as you can see, I've already listed out my default Class B subnet mask, where the first two octets are all on, 255, 255, 00. So now I need to determine what portion of my host bits is going to be turned on to borrow from my subnetworks. All right, so since I'm solving for subnetworks in this example, I'm going to put my equation in the subnetwork portion. 2 to the what power, 2 to the n, is going to be greater than or equal to 105 subnetworks. Well, if I look at my values, or my range of each bit, 2 to the 0 is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512. Oh, right here, 2 to the 7 is 128. That's about as close as I'm going to get to 105. So 2 to the 7 will be my subnetwork portion. So that means I'm going to turn on 7 bits. You always turn on your subnetwork bits, and you work from left to right. So you just extend this network portion. 4, 5, 6, 7 bits are now in my subnetwork. That leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bits off, which will create my host portion. 2 to the 9 equals, let's see, 2 to the 7 is 128, 2 to the 8 is 256, and 2 to the 9 is 512. So that's going to give me 512 hosts, but I have to subtract my network and broadcast address. So that's only 510 usable hosts per subnetwork. Oops, I forgot to put that out. 2 to the 7 is 128. So I'm going to have 510 usable hosts on each of my subnetworks. All right, so let's determine my new subnet mask. Remember, you get your subnet mask by adding up all the bits that are on. So I already know that those two first octets are going to be 255 because all the bits are on in those. And now I have all of these bits on except for the last one, so that will be 254 because the value of that last bit is 1.0. So my new subnet mask is 255, 255, 254.0. My magic number is the value of the last bit that I turned on. So the very last bit I turned on, because remember I go from left to right, is that 2 spot right there in the third octet. So my magic number is going to be 2. So remember, your magic number tells you how to, I guess, count out your networks, your subnetworks. And you always count out in the octet that you borrowed it from. So I got this magic number, from my third octet. So I always start with 172.16.0.0. You always start with your 0 network, and then you're going to count by your magic number. Your magic number determines your range. So in my third octet, my next subnetwork will be 172.16.2.0, 172.16.4.0, 172.16.6.0, and you just keep going all the way down. You're going to have 128, okay? So I always skip over to my broadcast section next because that's a little easier to find. It's the very last possible address before your next network. So my next network is 172.16.2.0. So my very last possible address is going to be 172.16.1.255. You add one more to that, and it's going to make it 2.0. So my range is everything in between. It'll be 172.16.0.1 through 172, let's see if I can squeeze it in here, 16.1.254. Barely fit. That's my range. It's everything in between your network address and your broadcast address. Remember, that's why we had to subtract 2 from our host portion to allow for these 2 addresses. If you tried to assign this to let's say your router interface, it would give you an error. It wouldn't let you do that using this subnet mask. It would know that that's a network address. All right, so let's list out our range for this one. This will be 172.16.2.1 through 172.16.3.254 and 3.255 for my broadcast, 4.0 for my next network, 4.1 to 5.254 and 5.255 for my broadcast, 6.0 for my next network. And you just would keep going and going until you've listed out all 128 subnetworks. So to just recap, whatever you're solving for, here I'm solving for subnets. I have to put my equation in my subnetwork portion. 2 to the what is going to give me greater than or equal to that value I'm looking for, 105. We found that 2 to the 7 equals 128, so that's going to allow for enough subnetworks. Then I turn on those 7 bits from left to right. 4, 5, 6, 7. From there I can see how many bits I have left off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'll be my host bits. So 2 to the 9 is my host portion, which gives you the 512 minus your network and broadcast 510 usable hosts. My subnet mask is found by adding up all the bits that are on, 255, 255, 254.0. And your magic number is the value of the last bit you turned on. The very last bit I turned on is the 2-bit. Remember, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Those values remain constant no matter what octet you're in. Your ranges, however, will continue to grow. And you use ranges to find your subnetworks in your broadcast. You use values to find your subnet mask and your magic number. So keep those numbers in mind. All right, I hope this helps. Oh, one more thing before I finish. I could also write my subnet mask as, let's see, 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, a slash 23, because that's how many bits I have turned on. That slash number identifies the on bits. All right, that's it.